All right, we're going back to work. It actually turned into a decent day for the vast majority of the day. It was nasty out. I mean, it wasn't raining, but it was cold and windy and very, very heavily overcast. And then about 4 o'clock, just literally like as fast as you could blink an eye, this happened. It warmed up. The clouds disappeared out of nowhere. Sun came out. I think we're in for a pretty beautiful evening, but looks like after today, at least as long as the weather does what it's supposed to, we are this will be our last big hoorah with temperatures under 65 degrees, at least during the day. Looks like from here on out we're I want to say for sure staying above 60 degrees, but no guarantees on that. But as of right now, the way things stand, the lowest temperature I saw in the forecast was 66 degrees, and there were lots of 70s. So, which is good because Shelly's got a bunch of garden plants that need to get put in the boxes because they're outgrowing the cups that she started them in the house. And obviously everybody needs to start getting field work. And it's what, April 3rd, April 4th, April 3rd, April 3rd, or May 3rd, sorry, May 3rd. It's go time. We need to, so I don't know if I'll be planting by this weekend, but if we stay breezy and it gets warm, tomorrow's supposed to be pretty warm, Friday's supposed to be really warm, the weekend's supposed to be really nice. If it gets warm and breezy, I'd like to think we could be back in the field by, I would think Saturday morning, probably Saturday afternoon. So here's hoping. But anyway, today, since I can't really do anything else, we're gonna go get the hayfield mowed. Yesterday I went over that thing and got it hooked up, and I had forgot how bad the 3-point, I shouldn't say I forgot I need to get the 3-point cylinders rebuilt on it. That one's bleeding like a stuck hog. I think the next round of rain we get, remind me, we got to get the cylinders done on that thing, because they're getting bad. Let that warm up, take Teeter back down to the house, and we'll get over to the field. Couple things we got to deal with here. The alfalfa and everything actually took off and made a really nice stand. See, I got some damn wild onion in here, but that will quickly be choked out. But we got to take care of this. This is yellow rocket. That is a big no-no when it comes to feeding the livestock, especially horses, because horses are kind of sissies when it comes to what they eat. So that's why I got to brush chop it, which would be considered a cultural weed control. But several things that's gonna have to happen out here. First off, and I kind of suspected that something like this would happen eventually, although I was hoping it wouldn't happen on the fresh seating. I was hoping it'd be a little bit of time, but as you can see, these tire tracks, right here and right here, the AEP here in this year has been or is putting a big focus on cutting back right-of-ways and stuff like that. So they've been having tree crews going out inspecting right-of-ways and whatnot, and they brought a truck in here to check out the right-of-way. But I give them credit, they were smart enough to realize that something had happened out here, and they stuck to the edge of the field all the way down, and they didn't just cut across the center or nothing. So I got to give them credit for that. They were at least respectable about it. But that's got to be taken care of. And then Shelly's dumbass brother, one of these, mark my words, one of these days he and I are gonna have rounds, and it's not gonna be good. He was out here, they got a little Polaris, it's technically I think it's badged as a Ranger, but it's more like an oversized go-kart. It's a two-seater, low to the ground. But he came out here and was doing donuts and all sorts of crap, and his excuse was, I didn't realize the whole thing was planted. So, but he was doing it all here under the tower and all back in here. But so what's gonna have to happen is, probably after first cutting, Mom and Dad's next door neighbor across the street he's actually, most of my early years of doing field work and running tractor was for him, because he made hay, and I started helping him make hay when I was like 6-7 years old. Well, help at that point, you're in the way more than anything, but they tolerated me. But he has, I think it's a 7 or 8 foot field roller, heavy bastard, like heavy enough if I bring it over here I'm probably gonna have to pull it with the 1955, just so it doesn't get pushed around on these hills. But get first cutting off of it, hopefully we get a rain to soften it up, and then bring that roller over here and roll it and try to take care of some of the issues that were created. But if you didn't catch it, I had some fertilizer left after I got done spreading corn ground, so I threw some fertilizer on it. So hopefully that helps it. And yeah, I wanted to wait to get it brush chopped until I knew for sure that the temperatures were going to start cooperating, and I didn't have to worry about it getting stunted. And I think we're there. So anyhow, we shouldn't be here that long. job's done. You get all that weed cover off of it. This is a nice stand of hay. Plenty of alfalfa, plenty of clover, plenty of grass. It wouldn't surprise me if I don't have to brush chop it one more time, but we get that heat, maybe the stuff that's actually supposed to be here will take off and choke out weeds, because a properly maintained, fertilized hayfield with a pH that you keep balanced will pretty much keep itself weed free. That's partly why you have to keep up with your nutritional needs and whatnot on hay. Is that's your best defense against weeds, is to keep the stand healthy. But this being a fresh seeding, you got to work towards it. And obviously got a couple thin spots, well, mostly here in that corner back there where I pushed that dirt pile over the edge, and then down over the hill, which that down over the hill kind of surprises me, because that was some pretty thick grass when I started this whole project. But we don't want that. But I might, obviously nothing that I can do about it this summer, but we get closer to this fall, after I take last cutting off, whatever that may be, probably get a little bit of, or get a little bit more seed, and just come over here with a lawn broadcaster and a four-wheeler or something and broadcast the thin spots. And hopefully it'll, if it doesn't fill in on its own, it might very well fill in on its own. And if you go, not this tower here, but I guess there's two more towers. So this closest tower and then the one after it, and if you go down to the third one, there's an acre and a half or something underneath that tower that belongs to a guy that I'm renting a new field from this year, that little triangle field. Well, little, it's 6 acres. Can't get to it with any bigger equipment that I would use for row cropping. But he did offer it up if I wanted to do something with it. And he kind of he just mows it like, I wouldn't say like a lawn, he lets it grow up a little bit, but he keeps it maintained. But he kind of likes the prairie look. So I'm thinking I might make the proposition to him, have him let me put it into hay, and then it'll maintain his prairie look, but he won't have to mow it or nothing because it'll be hay. So I'd have this here and that there, in fairly close proximity to each other. But I really need to, I got so many projects. I really need to get the other side of the barn, of my barn, lofted. So I got lofts on both sides of the center bay, because I need a place to put straw, and I'm gonna need a place to put hay. And I really need to get a loft put in that other side. But I need to figure out if there's a way that I can do it without having to put a divider wall in that east bay, because like the west bay has that granary in the front corner of it, and so there's a load-bearing divider wall that splits the loft in two, because originally the west side only had a loft in the corner, and then I built the back half of it where it changes to plywood. But I don't want to have to put in a load-bearing wall and split the east side, because I want to still be able to park equipment in there, and if you put that divider wall in there, you lose it. So I need to see if there's a way to make it where I can run my floor joists east and west instead of north and south like they are on the other side. And hopefully everything, or hopefully the barn will be able to support the weight. If I have anybody watching that's like a civil engineer or somebody that designs buildings that would want to take a look at that and see what they think about it, I wouldn't turn down the offer just to see. Because when I first brought it up, Dad didn't think that the way the beams are in the barn, they would be able to support the weight without a wall in the center to help spread the load out. But it would just make the barn a lot more utilizable, if that's a word, if I had lofts on both sides, since you can't take advantage of the headroom because the beams are only 8 foot, or the tie beams are only like 8.5 foot off the floor. But anyhow, projects for another day. So I'm gonna go home or call her a day, and that's it for this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one.